Something or nothing, bro.
Well, I think it's something in that it could explain why he's been a little subpar by his standards in these playoffs. And it could potentially slow him down in the game, the Super Bowl. I think it's nothing in that nobody cares. If you're out there playing, which he's obviously going to be, nobody cares if your shoulder's bothering you or not. We're going to judge you on your performance. So that's a quick answer to it.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely nothing as it pertains to nobody cares, but this is something. And it's something because he's been sacked 15 times in the three playoff games that he's been in. He's rushed the ball 24 times in the 3 playoff games, and I'm assuming he's going to have some runs in the Super Bowl, and he's probably going to hit the ground once or twice being sacked. So when you look at that, if you are the Seattle Seahawks and you're that defense and you know that you can get pressure, you can get home, you're going to try to test that theory of how well is Drake Maye. Now, I don't think it has something to do with, I don't think it will impact him in terms of his ability to throw the football. I don't think it's that drastic. I don't think that's why he's been not what we've seen in the regular season. Exactly. But it is something. I know to Vrabel's point, everybody has some type of injury at this stage in their game. However, when it's your quarterback, it's the reason that you had such a great regular season, one of the main reasons why you're here, it is definitely something and something to be mindful of.
You want to go, Kate? Look, I was optimistic because watching the games, the throws have been unlike throws that I've seen in the regular season. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's because it's snowy and wet, and maybe it's because his clock is like sped up a little bit, and we have the numbers here. The Chargers game, he didn't say that was necessarily the issue, and he had some beautiful passes in the Texans game, obviously, to Boutte. But everything is down, right? The thing that hit my radar, Nick, was him talking like he was a baseball pitcher going deep into the playoffs. Like, man, I've been throwing this ball for a long time, and did he just throw too much? Like, we never really talk about that except with older quarterbacks, but he's like, yeah, it's been 30 weeks of throwing the ball.
He had a ton of attempts in the regular season. Was he number one?
I don't know if
I don't think was he number one, John? No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he was number one. But he played all the games.
I know that our pal Dr. David Chow and some of the other internet sleuths thought they saw a play in the AFC Championship game where he hurt his shoulder. If that happened, then that's one thing. This report, if I may speak on behalf of Coach Mangini for a moment, if this report is true, the Patriots should be in trouble. He has not been listed on the injury report once all year. They listed 13 guys before the AFC Championship game. He wasn't one of them. They listed 9 prior to the divisional round. He wasn't one of them. So this report that he had a shoulder problem before the game is either wrong or the Patriots are not listing their injuries, which again. I'm sorry?
The Patriots?
I know. I wasn't going to. It was an odd day to bring that up.
I feel like Vrabel's like, I can't list everybody. Nobody's 100%.
No, I get it. But again, if you were like power ranking, like, man, we have these injury reports. who are they? To inform the public. Exactly. If there's 14 guys and we are only going to list 13. Is the throwing shoulder of the starting quarterback one of our 13 most relevant injuries? I don't know.
All right, listen, I'm not about to dive down the rabbit hole of pinpointing exactly when an injury occurred or any of that. The fundamental point is this. Drake Maye's throwing capability has been perfectly adequate. I'm aware his completion percentage and passing yardage have dipped, but a significant portion of that is attributable to external factors. He's played in 2 games with truly atrocious weather conditions. The defensive schemes he's faced, combined with how the Patriots' own defense has performed, dictating game script and what's been required of him, have all played a role. He's also utilized his running ability extensively. But here's a critical stat that cuts through the noise. His on-target throw percentage is virtually identical from the regular season to the playoffs. It was 79% in the regular season and sits at 79.5% in the postseason. This is precisely why you can't just glance at surface-level box score numbers and draw conclusions about his passing prowess. The real tangible issue has been increased pressure. He's being sacked more, and the fumbles have become a problem. Defenses are indeed getting to him with greater success, and his ability to manage that pressure hasn't been stellar. That is a legitimate conversation worth having. It's a discussion relevant to this Patriots team's Super Bowl chances and to Maye's own developmental trajectory. However, that's essentially where the critique should begin and end. This overarching narrative that he's been bad in the playoffs or is struggling or isn't the player we know is largely misplaced. The full scope of his abilities hasn't had the opportunity to manifest, not because of a degradation in skill, but because circumstances have constrained it. We're not seeing a pattern of him missing open deep shots or sailing intermediate throws 5 feet over a receiver's head for interceptions. It's not a case of passes being just slightly off target, turning potential catches into non-drops because the throw was simply errant. That's not the film I'm watching. Consequently, much of the concern rings hollow to me. Now, can I understand how an injury might be aggravating? Absolutely. As someone who has thrown a ball, be it baseball or football, you become hypersensitive to your shoulder. It's your entire livelihood. You're more attuned to your shoulder than your fingers or forearms. It's the priority. From childhood, the importance of the rotator cuff, the exercises, the maintenance is drilled into you. Any hint of shoulder discomfort is immediately magnified. You'd far rather deal with a finger issue. So yes, it's a factor. His own description of the sensation was telling. Some compared it to a baseball pitcher going deep into a season or an older quarterback managing wear and tear. To me, it actually signals his youth and inexperience at this relentless professional level. He mentioned throwing more in this recent 30-week span than ever before in his life. Even if completely healthy, his body is signaling that this is a new, intense demand. Mentally, he's undoubtedly aware of the accumulated load. This reminded me of one of Colin Cowherd's more astute observations about young NBA players. The jump in frequency and intensity from a college to a pro schedule is immense and can lead to breakdowns. Easing them in makes physiological sense. There's likely an element of that here. It's something to monitor, and you can bet Drake Maye is hyper-aware of it. But if you're getting lost in the idea that a shoulder issue has fundamentally diminished him, I disagree. The question is whether it sits at a precarious point where a bad hit in the Super Bowl could aggravate it, or if it's simply one more mental hurdle. Entering the biggest game, if he's thinking, my shoulder isn't at 100%, even if that just means unusual tightness or a specific fatigue, that hard-to-describe feeling where mundane tasks like shampooing your hair feel different, it becomes an extra consideration. For a thrower, that sensitivity is acute. Any additional mental or physical complication matters. So it's not nothing. It's certainly a variable. But I don't believe it's the defining limitation that some portray. This is my current read on the situation. Obviously, if the Super Bowl reveals a clearly compromised player, I'll readily admit the injury was more significant than it appeared. That just isn't the impression I have. Those are my perspectives. I'm genuinely interested in yours. What's your take on Drake Maye and the shoulder situation? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Whether you're aligned with my view or stand in opposition, let's dive into the debate. Let's have those spirited discussions, but let's keep it engaging. If you appreciate this kind of breakdown, please consider subscribing. We're cultivating a fantastic community here, and I'd be thrilled to have you join. The goal is to build something we all feel invested in and excited about. A thumbs up on the video also goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.